Well, like I said, you get out what you put in, and
Right.
that's one of the reasons why I was a really good soccer player in high school. I
Mhm.
mean, junior high and my freshman year. But soccer, you need teammates, and this you need somebody to bounce the soccer with, and things
Right.
like that. But running was something that you're gonna get out whatever you put in. There's nobody else to blame if things don't go right,
Right.
or if things go well, you get the reward.
You have to take ownership of it
Right.
on your own. So during your career, 5,000, 10,000 cross country in college, you won NCAA championships. You really had a great run throughout your career. Did you go 5 years at UCLA?
Yes, I went for 5 years. I
Okay.
finished my communication major
Mhm.
in 4 years, but they offered me that fifth year. He said, "Hey, you want you to stick around to get for another year?" I said,
Sure.
"We're gonna pay for you." I said, "Well,
Okay.
I might not get that opportunity ever again." I said, "To expand my education, why not and stay another year
Absolutely.
at UCLA?"
And so out of college, at that point, did you feel you have a communications degree? Did you feel, okay, I'm going to go get a job in communications, or did you feel that you could make a living as a runner?
Well, I think in '97, the Institute Ace, when I won the 5K
Yeah.
and 10K double as a junior, that was the kind of the immediate, maybe post-collegiate that kind of hinted that I have the potential to
Right.
make a living. But and then, my senior year cross country, I tell Coach Larson, I was coming out of stress fracture and my metatarsal, and he said, "Hey, I don't care about winning Pac-10 or district or this, but what I wanted is win cross country championship where,
Right.
Adam Goucher the same season who beat me in high school at the Foot Locker championship,
Yeah.
beat me by like 30, 45 seconds at the pre-nationals, and
Mhm.
then, but remember the big goal is to hit it on the Institute Ace, and I won that, and it was a huge
That's a
achievement on
big,
my
yeah,
side,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it was stacked field, and you had Goucher, you have Bernard Lagat, you have Kevin Sullivan, myself, Abdi, the Hauser twins, and I mean, you had like probably 8 Olympians out of that year,
Right.
and
And
to
you
say,
won it.
and I won it.
Yeah.
So and then that's kind of remind me of what happened this like a week ago today.
Absolutely.
So because it was very deep field, but not at the institute level, but at the marathon,
Marathon
of
world.
who is in the marathon, and big day in New York, and be able to have a great show.
It's one of those things where it seems like you like it when when the conditions are tough, but also when the field is deep. You want the best guys on the line on the biggest stage.
For sure. I mean, New York does a great job every year to bring the best
Yeah.
of the world to compete. They had the world record holder or the defending champion in 2005. I lost to those two guys, but
Right.
you trying to get the best out of yourself, so you need to compete against the best in the world, and New York does that just fine.
So as you finish your fifth year and you're moving into running professionally, at that point were you thinking mainly 5,000, 10,000 on the road, or you're thinking Olympics? What were you thinking?
I wrote a letter to John Capriati, who's Nike, and Alberto Salazar, and Asics and Reebok, to say, hey, give me this opportunity. I really believe what I great talent, and I've done this in high school, I've done this in college. Now give me the opportunity to be able to flourish my talent, and obviously Nike took that opportunity, and they signed me in '98.
98, okay.
But I was thinking more, 5K, 10K, and
Yeah.
but eventually I knew I wrote in there that I want to help the resurgence of U.S. distance running in all events, even including the road races and marathon. And to actually live it now is just, hard to believe that was 11 years ago. I had that vision, and now I'm living in it. And there's great things happening with the U.S. distance running.
And when was your first marathon?
My first marathon was in 2002 in New York City Marathon.
Oh, so it wasn't that long. In '98 you signed, and then a couple of years later you're in. When at that point were you out of college? Were you still working with Coach Larson?
Yes, I moved down to San Diego
Mhm.
from after UCLA and lived at the Olympic Training Center,
Yeah.
and did it's great to be there to get inspired by different other athletes that are
Right,
getting ready
from
for the
other sports,
Olympics.
yeah.
And so when you go to the Olympics, you're not saying who's that, but you kind of give them five or
Sure.
hang out with them and things like that. So it made a lot of ease when I made the 2000 Olympic team, my first team.
Right. And
And,
that was at 5,000 or 10,000?
10,000.
10,000, okay.
And a year later, I ran my fastest American ever, 27:13.
Yeah.
In Sydney, I barely made the final, but
But
I
you
ran
made the
PR.
final.
But I ran a PR twice,
Yeah.
under 28 minutes, and then, a year, and when we came the next spring, just everything came together. I did first time altitude and mammoth legs, and
Right.
shut down 40 42nd of what was in Sydney.
So at that point, you're getting enough support. Because I know when you're in Olympic Training Center, you had to work a part-time job to to basically help support. Was it hard to work basically work a real job and run?
Well, it was hard to do just running.
Right.
You've been for my entire life. It's been academics and athletic,
Right.
academic and athletic.
Yeah.
Now you have, you run an hour, maybe you're done, or you have you run 2 hours, you kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah, you're
or
5,000,
done. So
10,000 guy. Yeah.
yeah, and so for me it was a peace of mind and financial to support myself and help my family to be able to, get what Nike gave me and then get
Right.
on the side because. It's like you can't just say what you've been doing for 10. If we end up doing running for 10 years or 5 years, you need to have long vision
Sure.
of building a resume besides just one foot after another.
What was the Olympic experience like for you in 2000?
Oh, Sydney was fun.
That's yeah,
it was a great place, and the 10,000 was the first event. Friday prelim and Thursday was opening ceremony. Friday the prelim, and Monday the final. Another week of vacation.
That's not the best. The worst part about the Olympics is when your event's like towards the end and you're like, oh.
Yeah,
that's a nightmare.
that was Athens, the last
Athens,
event
a
for the
marathon,
closing
yes.
ceremony. So, but we'll go into that.
Yeah. So you have your first Olympic experience and you make it to the finals in 10,000. And then the following year you run your PR and American record for 10,000. At that point, were you thinking about the marathon? I know you did your first one in 2002. Was that something that you and Coach Larson talked about?
In 2000, when I made the Olympic team, I was so happy.
Yeah.
I was delighted, and then right after I finished, I said, it's great to be an Olympian.
Yeah.
But on the next, I hope to make the next Olympic, but I have to make it hopefully special, and I want to make on the podium. I said right when I was in Sydney at the stadium.
Yeah.
Setting goals, but. Ron Tabb mentioned that when I was in high school. Says, 96 would be too early to make, but you make 2000, and you should be able to medal in 2004 and 2008. He
Really?
called that in when in high school.
Boy, that guy's.
But he says you have to
some
be
vision.
focused. There's a lot of guys that had the talent, but you have to be focused and be determined and don't get sidetracked.
And it's easy to, and back at that time, American distance running was really considered second rate. I mean, we had obviously some talented guys, but you got all these great guys around the world, and we hadn't had an American win a medal in the Olympics in the marathon since Frank Shorter in '76. So it'd been a long time, but it seemed like the mentality of the guys trained up at Mammoth was, hey, there's no reason we can't compete with the best in the world.
Well, in 2000 there was one male and one female represented in the marathon, the Olympics.
Yeah.
And in 2001, Coach Bob Larson and Joe Vigil had in mind, what can we do to rejuvenate U.S. distance running? And they had Dina Castor and myself in mind to say, hey, let's take these two guys and gal and let's see what we could do with them. Train them to have other guys to help them train and give an opportunity for basically post-collegiate. We don't pick in college for distance runner. We pick later on when we get older.
26, 27, 28 is probably a peak for a runner.
Right. So they use that opportunity to start this training camp in Mammoth where we go there and do high altitude, just like the Kenyans, Ethiopians, Moroccans, and even Paula Radcliffe does altitude training. So they said, let's have Mammoth and San Diego base sea level and altitude and help them, get the best out of themselves and see what results can we see with the U.S. distance runners. And 2004 came around with 2 medalists in the marathon, Dina and myself. Kenya didn't have that.
No.
Ethiopia didn't have that. The long vision that they had, it came true for them, and we motivated a lot of youngsters to be able to say, hey, if they could go to the leagues, states, NCAAs, and if they can do it, then we can.